It's another day at IAE, and today the military-focused Anvil Aerospace has the expo floor. From ground assault vehicles, flagship Hornet series of medium and heavy fighters, to the grandiose expedition vessel, the Carrack, Anvil offers a ship solution for nearly every role in the Star Citizen universe. And though an impressive selection of ships, none of these are why I made my way to the expo floor. I came for one thing, and one thing only: the Anvil Paladin. And to answer your question, no, it's not available to be seen on the IAE floor, but it is available to be purchased in concept on the website robertspaceindustries.com. In this video, we're going to spend a little bit of time going over what information has been made available, what role this ship has in the verse, and whether or not I think you should buy it. We'll begin with an external analysis of the ship and work our way in, going through the layout. After we review the layout, we'll take a look at the hardpoints and component spec sheets to see where this fits into the game with respect to its performance and output. Now let's get started. Beginning with the exterior, we can take note of some design cues reminiscent of the Anvil Valkyrie that give the impression that this ship is designed to take some damage. Much like some other Anvil ships, it appears to have several layers of hull armor that overlap with one another, which hopefully will help keep it alive as engineering gameplay is brought to fruition. In regards to size, at a reported 53 meters in length, which is 2 meters shorter than the Corsair, it fits safely in the medium category of ships, though its beam does add on some serious mass to it, coming in at 38.5 meters wide. Just a comparison for that, the Redeemer comes in at 51.0 meters in length, but only 23.5 meters wide, making it quite a bit smaller than the Paladin in regards to total volume. We can also take note of the large quad-size 5 turret that sits atop the Paladin, bisecting the midline. There are also dual size 4 guns on either side of the ship, port and starboard. All 3 of these turrets are remotely operated, and we'll keep that in mind as we make our assessment as to whether or not this ship is a good purchase. In this next photo, we can see that the quad size 5 turret is no longer positioned on the top of the ship. This new gun position is made possible by the rail on which the turret is mounted that bisects the ship longitudinally and allows the turret to move between dorsal and ventral positions. I'm going to go ahead and guess that this will actually be useful, as I have reason to believe that the Paladin won't be the most nimble of ships. Moving on to the interior of the ship, we'll start on the bottom floor where you would enter and work our way up. Starting at the bottom right of the screen, we have a stairway that leads into a sort of foyer or staging area with what looks like 4 suit lockers for the crew. Moving to the right, looks like a doorway, but there really isn't a logical reason why you would go out that way. In front of the suit lockers, it looks like there might be grav locks for maybe 2 SU of storage, but the site lists the Paladin as having no cargo space. Moving towards the forward of the ship, we have 2 possible routes, one being upstairs and another continuing through the downstairs. Moving on, we have almost empty hallways that lead to the lower bridge area, which is probably where the 2 size 4 remote turret gunners will sit. Moving on to the second floor, the main stairway just to the right of the landing is the ship's only restroom. To the left of the landing, we have the crew dining area, but no visible kitchen or kitchenette area where they would prepare food. Moving towards the rear, we have crew quarters on either side of the ship, port and starboard, each fitted with 2 bunks, a desk, and 2 external storage areas. Continuing backwards, we have what appears to be component storage. If we move towards the front of the ship, we see a detail that we did miss on the first floor, that being a ladder which provides an alternative route to get upstairs if one route is blocked or maybe sectioned off via airlock. Finally, moving forward, we find ourselves in what I presume is the main bridge where the pilot and quad size 5 turret gunner work. Now that we're done with the interior tour, let's take a look at the hardpoint spec sheet. The Paladin comes with a medium radar and avionics computer, a medium power plant and cooler, and a large size 3 shield generator, which lends credit to the idea that it is intended to take some hits. In regards to propulsion, all the components are medium sized, meaning you'll likely be able to perform several quantum jumps to other planets and stations before needing to refuel. I won't bother reviewing its thrusters, however, as I think they are highly subject to change in the early stages of testing, which we have not entered yet. And for the weapons, as mentioned previously, the Paladin comes with one quad-size 5 remote turret that can maintain both dorsal and ventral positions, as well as two dual-size 4 remote turrets that maintain coverage on the peripheries of the ship, port and starboard. Now that we've gone through the ship details and what it's composed of, we do have to ask ourselves, what do we make of this ship? For starters, it has a considerable amount of firepower at its disposal, though none of it is in the pilot's control. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of a ship this size that 100% of the time requires a crew to operate it in a combat scenario, particularly when there really isn't any cargo space to speak of. To me, given that it seems to have been built specifically for combat, this is a single-purpose ship with almost no chance at being a daily driver for anyone. That is, at least given that we still don't have access to AI blades to operate the remote turrets. If we did have AI blades in the game, I think this ship would be pretty high on the list as a viable daily driver, at least if you didn't intend on hauling any cargo. Now, though I call it a single-purpose ship, that purpose being combat can of course be broken down into a variety of scenarios, and I think there are several that the Paladin would shine in. I'll just start off the discussion with one I have in mind: dropship gameplay. Though the Paladin doesn't have any drop seats and it has no vehicle transport potential, I think it was built to pair with the Valkyrie as a lead ship, doing work to clear the sky and the ground in front of the Valkyrie as it comes in from behind to drop off troops and vehicles. With the Paladin's heavy armor and large shields, I think it could certainly get the job done in a hot drop type of mission. And this type of gameplay environment is also likely why the pilot has no weapons to speak of, as their job isn't to engage. Their job is to fly in low and fast, likely avoiding obstacles and incoming ordnance from the enemies on the ground. With that said, I think this in a way kind of competes with the Starlancer TAC, whereas the Starlancer TAC is designed to be a complete all-in-one package for bringing troops and vehicles to the ground. This one needs to pair with another vehicle. With that in mind, I think the Paladin needs to also bring speed and maneuverability to have an edge as a competitor, because I think the TAC does everything that the Paladin does, only a little bit better if we disregard crew requirements. But even then, the TAC does the job without requiring an extra ship. So if the Paladin can move in at high rates of speed, then I think there's definitely a role for it in this type of gameplay. So that begs the question, should you buy it? This one is tricky because my answer comes to both a subjective no and a subjective yes when we look at it through different lenses. It becomes a yes if you enjoy multi-crew gameplay and want to engage in air-to-ground type missions. If the ship is fast enough, I think it will be a major competitor in that segment of the game. It becomes a no if you're looking for an all-arounder, as it can't really carry any cargo and it requires a crew in order to participate in combat. With that said, it also becomes a yes if you're a speculative buyer. Personally, I purchased one because the price point seems competitive at the concept price of $260 with included LTI and a livery. I think the use cases for it are going to improve when ground gameplay gets polished up a bit and we have access to monster hunting missions or base invasion type gameplay loops. On top of that, I believe that when AI blades enter the game, the value of the ship is going to spike dramatically. To be frank, I won't be surprised if I see several of these aiding in the escort of capital ships as relatively autonomous gunboats. And those 4-size 5s bolstered by the 4-size 4s will be a considerable force on the battlefield. I also am okay buying in at this point because even if I don't like it, I can always use it as a high-priced CCU base in the future when its value inevitably goes up, and that would come with LTI. But now that you know my opinion, let me know your thoughts on the Paladin. Were you expecting something different? Did you pledge one for your account? What are your ideas on how this ship could be used in the game? I'd love to hear from you. Just a quick reminder, I'm doing a giveaway for Luminalia during the month of December. In order to qualify, you have to be subscribed, plus leave a comment and a like on any of my long-form videos published during the month of December. We also welcome you to join my Discord, the link for which is in the description. I only ask that you remain amicable to the community that we're building. With that, I think I'll end the video. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.